Madden 20 has been announced, and typically it's very out of character for Madden to come out and give us info on franchise mode first. They didn't give us gameplay information first. It was literally, here's the cover guy, Patrick Mahomes, and here's what we're doing for our single player modes. We understand that they've been crap lately, and here's how we're going to improve it. There seems to be an emphasis on two distinct modes. The first mode being franchise itself, and the second mode being what the community is calling the return of superstar mode. Now, there's a lot to be excited about. I'll give you guys the things that I'm personally excited about and what I personally don't care about. Typically, in this situation, Madden is known for taking away features that fans loved years ago and bringing it back. One of those features that are returning in franchise mode is, of course, the Pro Bowl. Now, personally, I never understood why people care so much about the Pro Bowl. Like, personally, whenever the Pro Bowl comes around in my franchise, I always skip through it. Being excited about the Pro Bowl is literally like being excited about being able to play the Super Bowl when your team isn't in it, in my opinion. But the Pro Bowl is returning. They've made some changes to developments and traits which are going to impact the game and make it more realistic. And one thing that really seems super cool this year is something called a scenario-based engine. And this is something that I'll tell you before we go on further. What I'm personally the most excited about is a member of the team, Moonlight Swami, Andre Weingarten. Met him a lot of times, DM him fairly often. One of the coolest guys I've ever met, and honestly, this guy's brain is insane. Like, he is literally a walking encyclopedia of sports information. When I was being flown out to Orlando to capture some early Madden footage for you guys, this guy would go in there, do his thing for Madden, and then go back home while we were all doing our own social activities at night. Moonlight Swami was watching game tape. Like, this guy is a true student of football, absolutely loves it, and a huge franchise guy. So he's personally my favorite addition to the Madden feature list. If anything, they should add that to the feature section on the back. But what is the major change in franchise this year is something called a scenario-based engine. And pretty much what this means is Madden is going to try to mimic the drama you get in real life and scenarios you get in real life based off of the personalities of players. So more recently, you had three pieces of drama. Two of the pieces of drama that happened this past year actually happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all know about Le'Veon Bell's holdout, which ended up being a horrible financial decision, by the way, but Le'Veon Bell, being Le'Veon Bell, decided it was a great idea to go ahead, hold out this past season so he could get more of a commitment to him from his new squad and not risk injury. And although financially he may have taken a bit of a loss, he ended up getting what he wanted, and he ended up signing with the New York Jets, and that was due to Le'Veon Bell's personality. Now, you take another player, let's say DeMarcus Lawrence, and in this past season, DeMarcus Lawrence's contract went up, and the Cowboys said that we intend on tagging DeMarcus Lawrence. And he said after signing his big fat contract that he would never have held out during training camp. He would have shown up to camp, everything would have been business as usual, and they would have taken care of it eventually. Now, then you go to a player like Antonio Brown. We all know what happened with Antonio Brown this past season. Him and Ben Roethlisberger got into a couple of arguments, a couple of disagreements, and eventually it made the working environment so toxic that the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to trade him. And even once he got traded, he started taking hits at Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm sure you guys get the idea. What Madden is going to try to do is pretty much take that drama you see in real life and implement it in franchise mode. Now, I don't know how far this is going to go. I don't know if this is only going to extend to the players. I don't know if this is going to extend to the coaches. I don't know if this is going to extend to the owners, because there are definitely some GMs out there, cough the Giants, that make terrible decisions that just have their fan bases out in outrage and scratching their heads. There are some owners that are fairly stubborn, like Jerry Jones 10 years ago, who refused to relinquished the general manager duties, and that drove Dallas Cowboys fans crazy. There are some coaches like John Gruden in the Raiders and Mike Mayock, who's the GM, with very interesting systems where it seems like Gruden is more like a team president as opposed to a coach, and no one really knows what he's doing over there. And there are some crazy dramatical angles that you could really focus on in the NFL this past season that have the potential of being implemented into Madden. Now, again, if that extends to the coaches, that extends to the general managers, and that extends to the owners, that could make franchise incredibly deep, and it could actually increase the replay value of Madden 20, which is huge. If you're a video game, there's two things you want it to have, and that's one, you want it to monetize, which Madden seems to have covered with its Ultimate Team mode. But if it's not monetizing and Ultimate Team is getting stale, you want it to have replay value. You want the consumer to be engaging with the product as much as possible, and franchise mode is just another way of doing that. So I do really like the idea of having this brand new engine into the mode. I do think it has a lot of potential, but historically I have seen EA kind of half-ass this and half-ass their new features and really know how to hype up their new features. So I am kind of skeptical, as all of us should be. Now, they have another mode that is going to be similar to 2K's My Player mode, and there is a huge difference between Superstar mode that's coming out, which is called Face of the Franchise, and of course Superstar mode of yesterday. Now, let me know what you guys think about the new franchise editions. Are you going to be playing a lot of franchise in Madden? Because personally, I could see myself playing a lot of Madden franchise, especially now that it's out for the PC, and I've tried making a modded franchise, and I've actually been experimenting with PC mods. If I do see Madden continue its PC support, which it does seem to be the route they're taking, I do see myself playing it a lot. Now, personally, the next thing that I want to discuss is something called Face of the Franchise. And what Face of the Franchise is it's pretty much what NFL Superstar mode used to be in Madden 06 and Madden 07. At least that's what they're claiming to be. But there's already one huge difference between Madden 20 Superstar mode, which is Face of the Franchise, and Madden 07 Superstar mode, which I guess Madden 07, Madden 08 Superstar mode was like peak Superstar, in my opinion. Let me know in the comment section if you disagree. But what Face of the Franchise seems to be is you, first of all, can only be a quarterback, which right away, when you tell me that I can only be a quarterback, it makes me feel like, okay, this is gonna be a scripted story. Because if you're already taking away some freedom from me, chances are that there are scripted elements to this story, which isn't really a bad thing depending on how deep they want to make it. But my issue with Longshot is you put a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of effort into making that story, and then after a little while, after someone's done playing it or someone's done watching it on YouTube, it's kind of over. You know, there's no longevity to the mode. You can't take your long shot protagonist and play with him online. Yeah, he is integrated in Madden Ultimate Team a little bit, but come on, no one uses those players. Colt and I forgot the other guy's name in Madden Ultimate Team. Now, if you ask me personally, the fact that you're could only be a quarterback is not the greatest. You know, I would like the option to make at least a halfback or a wide receiver or a tight end as well, or some defensive players like a cornerback or a free safety or a linebacker or an edge rusher. I would like to have some more variety. Sure, you know, we don't have to have the option to make an O lineman, but the fact that we can make those other possessions would be really awesome. The main feature that they really seem to be pushing about Face of the Franchise is the fact that you start out in college and you get to choose which college you can start out with. You have 9 schools to choose from. You have 10 schools to choose from. Florida, Oregon, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, LSU, USC, Texas, Clemson, Miami, and Florida State. So there's no Alabama, there's no UCLA if Well, UCLA was my alma mater, so I'm a little annoyed about that, but it's not that big of a deal. But either way, I don't know how many games you're going to be playing in NCAA. I don't know if it's customizable, if I'm able to actually tinker with the offensive and defensive players in NCAA so I can actually integrate actual players there. And I really doubt you would be able to do that. Historically, I don't think you could take a story element, or EA would allow you to customize a part of the story element. I don't see a way for there to be custom, NCAA rosters for you to make. So chances are it's going to be very similar to the way it worked in Madden 18 and Long Shot. You're probably going to be able to play 2 or 3 games in college, or maybe four if lucky, and then you're going to move on to your career. Now, the thing that really has that Superstar mode really has going for it is there are archetypes. Technically, there are development traits. You could you could go from normal to a star to a superstar, X Factor, or anything like that. Players cannot drop down in the development trait, and eventually you will have the opportunity to to negotiate your contracts. So if EA goes ahead and makes this a very detailed base mode, meaning you can hold out, you could potentially, if you could stay another year in college and to improve your draft stock, it doesn't seem super scripted, then I think this mode can be a home run, and it could add a whole new dimension to Madden 20 that we have been craving for as Madden fans for a long time. Personally, the reason I stopped playing Madden is because I felt like it was a game that I either had to sink a lot of money into or not play at all, which is Ultimate Team or nothing, because franchise mode in the past sucked. Although they tried to make it better, it sucked. But it seems like they are trying, and the one problem EA typically has is when it comes to details. And if they get the details right, I feel like this could be a home run. I don't know personally what to expect. Again, I'm optimistic, but I'm skeptical. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. I'm your boy, TheFlightMike. I'll catch you later.